Imagine this. A man wakes at 3:17 a.m. to the sound of his own scream. His throat burns. His sheets cling to him, damp with sweat he can't remember producing. The bedroom, modern, sleek, curated for Instagram, feels like a sarcophagus. On the nightstand, a silver-plated Hustle Daily motivational plaque, a half-empty bottle of SSRIs, and a phone blinking with 72 unread Slack notifications. He's 34, CEO, 2 Teslas, a Peloton he hasn't touched in months. He claws at his chest, convinced something is rotting inside him. You know this man. Maybe you are this man. The paradox. Society told him to win. So he won. He optimized his LinkedIn, outsourced his happiness to productivity gurus, and collected achievements like rare coins. But here's the cruel joke no one warns you about. The more successful you become by worldly standards, the heavier the invisible anvil pressing on your sternum. You can't name it, can't post about it, can't fix it with another certification course. Jordan Peterson's voice cuts through the static of this man's unraveling mind. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. But what happens when who you were yesterday is a stranger? When every promotion, every accolade feels like burying that stranger deeper in a landfill of unmet expectations? The great question, what if responsibility, the very thing you've been running from like a curse, is the only antidote to this suffocating void? Not the performative responsibility of paying taxes or walking your purebred doodle. Not the martyrdom of "I'll sleep when I'm dead" hustle porn. The violent, sacred act of staring into the abyss of your own potential and whispering, "I will bear this weight. Not because I want to, but because I must." You felt this shadow. That moment in the grocery store parking lot when the sheer absurdity of existence hits. Plastic carts clattering, a child screaming for cereal, your hand frozen on the car door handle, and you wonder, is this all there is? That midnight scroll through Instagram reels where everyone's laughing in slow motion except you, the ghost haunting your own life. The trap. We've been sold a lie wrapped in neon self-help slogans. That responsibility is the enemy of freedom. That adulthood means trading wonder for spreadsheets. That finding yourself requires escaping to Bali with a yoga mat and a juice cleanse. But Peterson's inconvenient truth lingers like smoke. You're not everything you could be, and you know it. The modern world offers endless anesthesia for this knowledge. TikTok nihilism, victimhood cosplay, conspiracy theories that let you blame shadowy cabals instead of mirror gazing. We've built entire industries to help you avoid the one thing that matters, the terrifying recognition that meaning isn't found. It's forged in the daily choice to shoulder your existence like Atlas bearing the sky. The tension. Here's what they don't tell you about responsibility. It's not a ladder to climb. It's a guillotine. Every time you choose to clean your room instead of numbing with video games, you're not just organizing socks. You're murdering the version of yourself that believes helplessness is a virtue. Every time you speak truth instead of parroting ideological slogans, you're not just being authentic. You're spitting in the face of a culture that profits from your fragmentation. But the alternative? Look at the man in the sarcophagus bedroom. Look at the rising tide of midlife crises in 25-year-olds. Watch the way people now flinch from eye contact like vampires confronted with sunlight. We're becoming a species of unhaunted souls, not because we've conquered suffering, but because we've outsourced our souls to algorithms. The turning point. Peterson's infamous "clean your room" isn't homemaking advice. It's a Molotov cocktail thrown at the prison of modern absurdity. When you take responsibility for the chaos you can control, the mess under your bed, the resentment poisoning your relationships. You're not being domesticated. You're practicing for revolution. But here's the rub no one wants to swallow. Responsibility hurts. It means admitting your ex wasn't toxic. You both chose dysfunction and called it love. It means facing that your depression isn't a chemical imbalance, but a screaming signal that you've betrayed your values. It means realizing your political crusades are performance art, avoiding the rot in your own heart. The cliffhanger. So we arrive at the edge. Either the man gets up from sweat-soaked sheets and does the impossible, starts telling the truth, starting with himself, or he becomes another statistic in the epidemic of successful suicides, corporate jargon for self-betrayal. But before we follow him into that choice, we must ask, why does this hurt so much? Why does responsibility feel less like empowerment and more like surgery without anesthesia? What ancient human wound are we scratching at here? The answer lies not in self-help platitudes, but in the forbidden territories of our psyche, places Jung called the shadow, Nietzsche called the abyss, and Peterson calls the dragon lurking in your basement.